in the fall, there were things that were clearly out there in the newspaper that suggested that Sal had been involved in what one might call an appearance of impropriety, to use a weak word, meaning that things that were happening around him didn't look right. His friends were benefiting in ways that didn't seem right. But there was no evidence at that time, direct evidence, that he himself was taking payments. And a lot of us really asked him and confronted him. I confronted him, and he lied. He said no, and he did it in a very genuine. He's a very charming man,
right?
And he's a gentleman. He's a lovely guy in a lot of ways. Obviously, not in this way, but he's I understand. You're right to ask the question. I don't blame you for asking the question. I understand that basically you're asking it because you care about me,
right?
And and just sort of you feel the love, but it wasn't true.
Yeah.
It wasn't real,
Yeah.
and so I think a lot of people feel the word is really betrayed by Sal, and so do you become more courageous as a result of that? I don't know. I during that period,
I think it could do that to you.
I certainly feel like I raised the issues, and we all struggled with how to handle it, but in hindsight, well, now we know what we know.
With DeLeo, Robert DeLeo, the new House Speaker, are you more outspoken?
Well, the thing about Bob DeLeo, which is, I think, really a good indicator, and maybe this is the lesson, is trust your gut. If somebody's down to earth, that's a good thing. Bob DeLeo is down to earth. He is not. I don't perceive him as manipulative. In hindsight, I perceive Sal as being a fabulously manipulative man. Just a very capable of influencing the people around him to go along with him. Whereas Bob, I think, just is not manipulative. He is who he is. He says what he says. He does what he says he's going to do, and you can like that or not like that. But what you see is what you get, and so I have a higher level of trust with Bob, and from the beginning, and I think that what he's done this spring has been he's steered us through these major reform packages and has listened to people. We came in. There were questions about how far to go with some of these reforms, and there were those in the House, and I would number myself among them, who felt that we should go to the further extreme in some of these reforms. And so we had meetings and spoke our minds, and it was people were almost surprised by the extent of hey, wait a minute, we're getting listened to by the Speaker. There was less of a sense of I'm going to tell you what's going to happen, more of a sense of okay, well, I want to know what you guys want to do, and that's I think that's going to be a hallmark of his leadership. It is going to be a more collaborative, adult to adult, as opposed to the big man on campus to everybody else kind of thing, and that was a little bit of Sal's persona. Is Sal was above everybody to a degree, and I guess he did think he in fact was above everybody, but it's not the way it's going to